Good evening and welcome to One Church, the One Church Television Network, OCTN. We're here with Minister Wesley Leonard, one of the most dynamic preachers in our brotherhood. We appreciate him taking out the time to talk with us this evening, give us this exclusive interview at the 42nd Southeastern Lectureship. Brother Leonard, thank you for being on the set. Thank you for taking the time out. Just a few things. Tell the audience, our viewing audience, a little bit about yourself. If they don't know you, sometimes they're from the Caribbean, they're from different places. Yeah. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born right at 54 years ago in Tallahassee, Florida, capital of the state of Florida. I was reared and educated there. I started preaching there. I was married there. I had my children there. I preached for the Spring Hill Road Church of Christ from 1987 to 1999, and I moved and relocated to Atlanta, Florida. And I've been working with the Southside Church of Christ ever since. We have been blessed tremendously by God to, from the genesis at a school, elementary school, to blessed with well over 350 members, and we're blessed, we're thankful, we're happy, we're glad. And I've been blessed to preach at many locations across the continental United States and the Caribbean, and indeed other places in the world. So I count myself very fortunate, very blessed to be a part of the brotherhood, which is the Church of Christ.
What gives you the most joy over the years as the gospel preacher? What gives you the most joy?
Sharing and bearing and caring with people. I'm a people-oriented person. The gospel is not just what you preach, it's what you live.
Okay.
Helping people, helping to transform, and in some instances transmogrify people's lives, to impact people, to make and lead. So people sometimes make decisions out of anger, frustration, depression, problems. If you're hanging there, things will get better. And I trust God for that.
Your father was a elder in the church.
Yeah, he was. Great man.
Were you close?
Very close. I am so fortunate. My mother and father both were not raised in the Church of Christ. I was baptized when I was 18 years old. And my whole family was. My father is a great man. I learned all my work ethic from my father. I have my father's personality. I got my father. I look like my father, act like my father, I walk like my father. I was very blessed. I learned all my compassion from my mother. She was the biblical guru of the family, the spiritual warrior, prayer warrior. And so I had an interesting combination. I thought so much of my father. When I had my first son, I named him Jonathan Wesley, because my father's name was John W. Leonard. So I named my son John W. Leonard in honor of my father. And so I've been very, very impacted by him. He died a number of years ago from cancer, but his legacy lives on in me, and I just know somewhere he's proud, thankful. He served with distinction as an elder of the Spring Hill Road Church from 1991 to 1999. I had the privilege of ordaining him as an elder at the church, worked with him as an elder, and I wish every young African American male had the blessing of having a father like I had. The world would be a better place for our people if more people had a strong father like I had. It really would.
Wow. First time I heard the son ordaining the father as the elder. I don't know if that's normally happened, but that's unique.
Yeah.
That's unique. The congregation that you serve at. I love the singing group that you all have, Revelation. I mean, it's just there's so many positive things going on. What are you all planning for in the future to do really in the near future?
Well, we've been tremendously blessed. We started with nothing, from scratch, and I'm a builder. That's probably my gift, my passion. We didn't have that kind of singing when we started. We were pitiful. We didn't have a place of worship. We had no property. We had no leadership. But God smiled on us. And the gentleman by the name of Dr. Jerome Adams invited me down here in 1999 to Orlando. I accepted the challenge, and we ordained leadership. We bought property. We built a $1.5 million facility. God sent us some very talented people like Revelation. What we're hoping to do now is turn some corners that traditionally maybe the Church of Christ doesn't turn. That's one of the things I think, the theme I used for the lectureship when I hosted it 2 years ago was, we've been around this mountain too long. It's time to climb. And so we want to start climbing some mountains, doing some things in the area of relevance, mending homes, mending hearts, mending people. That's kind of my theme and focus. I find that too many of us, in my opinion, are into building structures and gargantuan edifices, but we forget to build people. It's easier to build stuff than to build people. But it's more expensive to build people than build stuff. That's the challenge. It's more challenging to build people. And so what I want to do, and I'm trying to get the church to captivate that dream with me, is we want to build people. We want to build people. And whatever that means. And you got to build them how they come to you. Some people come to you, they're fractured, they're torn. You got to start from scratch. Other people don't need quite as much, but everybody needs to be built up. So that's going to be the focus. People, not things, not materials, but members. So that's where Southside's going.
You serve on the Spiritual Growth Workshop, one of the greatest, I believe one of the greatest workshops inside of Brotherhood. I haven't missed it since I've been introduced for years. I've seen you there a lot. Every time
I'm on the
been
board
there. You're on
the
board. Tell us a little about the work at the Spiritual Growth Workshop, what they hope to do in helping with the concept that you have at the church of building, mending, and healing.
We're even deeming it now as the Equip Conference.
Yes, it's changing.
Because we're trying to, again, turn some corners. That's been one of the great fellowships and associations I've enjoyed. I'm on the board, actually, of the Southeastern Lectureship here, on the board of the Florida State Lectureship, and I'm on the board of the Equip Conference Spiritual Growth Workshop, and a few more. But I think it's one of the best professionally for me, because it is the fellowship I enjoy with the predominantly white congregations and the African American congregations coming together. And you've been there. It's a great sight. You see well over 3,000 people in that Rosen Center. And one of the great things I've learned a lot, again, for people who are different, the diversity, the cultures are different. I wish it is somewhat different sometimes. But it doesn't mean we're not on the same team. So the Spiritual Growth Workshop, I've been there on the board, I think, for 10 or 12 years. It has been a very gratifying experience, because I was influenced to start focusing on people, primarily from my association with that, because some of the things we've done and how we do them, and I've seen the positive results. That has certainly influenced me to believe that we can do that within the confines of our own fellowship. I am thankful to God to have that distinction of working with the Spiritual Growth Workshop. And I encourage anybody who's not gone to that, it is every even year in Orlando, Florida, at the Rosen Center. You need to make your way to the Equip Conference, Spiritual Growth Workshop. You will not be unhappy when you arrive. And the good thing about that is, it has no registration. It's the only
how do they pull that off?
We live by the contributions of congregations and individuals. Our congregation makes a substantial investment. It's an investment. There are a lot of congregations across the country who will sow a seed into that conference, so that the members don't have to pay a registration. And we like to, Brother Snell and I, both on the board, we like to bring that paradigm to our lectureships, that every congregation, so we can do more together than we could ever do apart. True. If we ever learn that concept, see, if every congregation at the southeastern region donated $1,000, if all the congregations represented here donated $1,000, we could waive the registration. Everybody come and get a badge and a book and all the entities. Of course, they got to pay for their hotel and their food, but it would just help, and we could do a lot more together than we could ever do apart.
You say that we can do a lot together and apart. What are some of the things that stops us?
Again, the idiosyncrasies, the idiosyncrasies. If somebody claps their hand, and we don't believe in hand clapping, I can't fellowship with you.
Okay.
You know, if minutia. It's one of the devil's biggest tools. We fight over nothing. And so if you don't do everything I do, how I do it, when I do it, I can't associate a fellowship with you. I'm certainly not going to put my money. And then some people nitpick you about money. If they give you $1,000, they want to know how you spent every dime, you know. Instead of understanding that we entrust you with this money to do the right thing, and you can see the results.
Right.
Now, if you can't see the results, I am for transparency, but if you can get 3,000 people like we do every other year together in a place, and there's no registration, and you see the bold, dynamic speakers, you've been there, and the workshops are just par excellence.
Oh man,
there is no questioning that the money has been spent wisely.
Absolutely.
So you know, and then some people, to be quite frank and honest, if they can't run something, they won't support it. And again, that's immaturity, spiritual immaturity. It is small-mindedness. And I share with my church all the time, you have to find a cause that is bigger than yourself and serve it. And these causes are bigger than me as an individual, bigger than you, but it's a cause worthy of us all serving.
We see the denominations, they work together.
Absolutely.
They do wonderful things, big things, because they work together. I mean, they might not even like each other, but it serves a cause.
Absolutely.
We have these small issues that stops us from achieving great things for the Lord.
Right.
He gets the glory out of it. Do you see that changing?
I'm prayerful. I'm hopeful. What they've learned is you don't have to, and it's biblical paradigm. Paul and Silas and others had their issues. John Mark at one time had an issue, but they came back together. There's always, when you have human personalities, there can be challenges. But if we can see past ourselves and see the bigger picture, we will be better. We argue about bass mics, hand clapping, women's roles in the church. Oh my God, the monster, how much is too much worship? I've never, it intrigues me, well, can you praise God too much? I mean, what? That's an oxymoronic statement. That's like,